Chapter 27, Part 4, 8:15 p.m. Well, that's the hotel booked, or should I say bed and breakfast. I decided to avoid the big hotels and support local businesses. The breakfasts are always better in the more traditional, intimate places anyway. I've gone for the Red Cliff on Brunswick Terrace near the seafront. The fried breakfasts get rave reviews on TripAdvisor, and it looks immaculately clean and welcoming. That'll do for me. It has parking for guests, and it is literally just across the road from the beach. Perfect. 3 nights in a double room for less than £200. In London, you pay more than that for a toothbrush. I can check in from 2 p.m., which is fine. I'll set off early and have a leisurely drive down in the van. It needs a good run out anyway. It'll be 4 or 5 hour drive depending on the traffic, but I can stop off whenever I fancy for a bite to eat. I know it's work, but it feels like another holiday. I won't forget this year in a hurry. I bet 2020 will be pretty uneventful in comparison. Good night, Mr. Diary. I'll throw a few things in the bag first thing in the morning and get going. The 20th of March 2019, 8:15 a.m. Packed and ready to hit the road. I was up early this morning to email my old buddy Darren Martin at the Land Registry. One of the perks of being a private investigator is getting to know people in certain positions of influence. If Darren gets my message when he gets to work, I'll likely get a reply from him later today. He'll make sure that I skip the queue in return for a crate of beer, a small price to pay for information. I have asked him about the deed holders of the two properties on Avalanche Road, Southwell, dating back to 1985. It is much quicker than doing a house search than a name search, especially if they've owned a number of different properties, or if names are common ones like Painter or Bainbridge. It should take him 10 minutes or so. I'll get through the Manchester and Birmingham traffic and then look for a nice place to stop for lunch. Somewhere just off the M5 near Worcester would do nicely. Well, here we go again. I'll update when I get checked into my B&B in Weymouth. 3:45 p.m. Well, that was a pleasant enough journey down. The usual traffic congestion around the big cities, but nothing to worry about. I managed to find a reasonable place for a bar meal, so I won't need anything big to eat for the rest of the day. Maybe some fish and chips on the promenade will be nice, a good way to end the day. The guest house is as advertised, clean and homely, and right on the seafront. I managed to get a parking spot for the van without any struggle. My room is a little on the small side, but it has everything I need, including free Wi-Fi and a copy of the Bible in the top drawer, in case I feel the need to brush up on a gospel or psalm. Nothing from Darren as yet. I think I'll go for a walk along the front and see what I can remember about the place. I bet it's changed an awful lot since I was 10. 8:30 p.m. Well, it hasn't changed a lot since I was 10. Not the beachfront, anyway. The clock tower still looks as impressive as it ever did, a focal point of the town. Not quite Blackpool Tower proportions, but memorable nonetheless. I managed to get some fish and chips and a pint in the Gloucestershire pub, and I'm feeling quite bloated now. Still no reply from Darren. Tomorrow morning after breakfast I will have a drive onto the Isle of Portland and visit Southwell and Avalanche Road. Plenty of time to do some digging up there. And you can come with me, Mr. Diary. Dictaphone too. You just never know who I might meet and who might be worth talking to. It could be the man himself. 12:45 a.m. The Isle of Portland. The drive over Chesil Beach brought back a few memories. I'll stop there on the way back and walk over on the pebbles. It's a beautiful stretch and the sun is shining brightly today, despite the bitter cold. The naval base looked a lot quieter than I remember. Government cutbacks, I expect. The first village you come to, Fortune's Well, is a little rough and ready, but the scenery changes as you start to climb. At the top, the views over Weymouth Bay and Chesil Beach are breathtaking. I had to stop and take a few photographs at the summit. Not much has changed on Portland either, which pleased me immensely. Large parts of the island remained untouched. It was nice to see vast swathes of rugged countryside, as it had been for decades. The bright white Portland stone was evident all around as I approached Southwell. I stopped and parked up outside the church and decided to walk around the village rather than drive. It wasn't a big place, and you see so much more on foot. But what struck me was how calm and quiet it was. Only a handful of cars drove by as I wandered along the litter-free streets. The locals clearly took pride in their village. I found Avalanche Street no problem. It was on the main road in and out. I stopped across the road from numbers 1 and 3, and that familiar feeling of excitement coursed through me when I realised I was only feet away from where Ernie had moved to all those years ago. I decided to go against my instincts and held back from knocking on the door. That would be a last resort if I didn't find anything from Darren or from my own research. The Eight Kings pub on Southwell Road was just around the corner from where I was parked, so I decided to go in for a sandwich and a lemonade, and that's where I am now. It is the only pub in the village and clearly a draw for the locals, with adverts for local businesses and social clubs in the entrance hall. I had a look, but there was no sign of any painting and decorating firms. The smell wafting from the kitchen reassured me that I had made the right choice to eat here. Cheesy chips and a BLT sandwich is on its way. Yummy. I'll eat first, then work.